We OG, we OG. Oh no, G. You're not bullish enough. Yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Yeah. Experts on reload. Yeah. You're not bullish enough. Yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock. Ayy. Rooms is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal Revolution, ayy. Ordinal Revolution. Yo, it's my guy for real, bro. Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, like it in the seal. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nuki on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me. Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution, ayy. Bitcoin is the one, no substitution, ayy. With Shizzy and Yagobi, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Welcome to Ordinal Revolution. Yagobi here. We got a little bit of technical difficulties. I think we're waiting on Shizzy to kind of get that back going, but we got a great show for you guys today. We appreciate each and every one of y'all joining us on a Monday. I think he might have got disconnected there, but I definitely got thrown off. But there's a lot of stuff we're going to go over today, guys. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a preview, we're going to hit on, of course, Bitcoin price action. We got a lot of economic data coming in this week. Producer price index, consumer price index, Bitcoin Asia. We're going to touch on that. There's a lot of interesting things coming out of that conference. One of them is kind of how much participation mainland China had with that convention. So we're going to touch on that. Casey also touching on, maybe leaning in on like centralized applications and businesses on Bitcoin. So that's also interesting. And then also we'll hit on Track. Track released a Medium article. And then we'll finish it out with Q&A like we always do. So make sure that you guys put all of your questions in the chat. All right. Well, I guess while we're waiting for Shizzy to get reconnected here, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to touch on some Bitcoin price action here. So let me share that real quick. All right, guys. So Bitcoin, obviously it's been kind of chopping back and forth. We talked about that the past, I want to say like 2 weeks now. I feel like it's been really chopping back and forth, but really got kind of close to that 60,000 mark. We're back up to like 62, almost 63,000. And it looks like Shizzy's back.
Yo. Sorry, guys. Dude, that was crazy. I think froze right on Monday morning problems, man. Monday morning problems already. But yeah, sorry about that.
Case of the Mondays. I definitely wasn't like expecting that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to jump in here and start talking about Bitcoin price action. But yeah, that's kind of where we are with it. But let's pull that back down. We'll get back to Bitcoin. We'll get back to Bitcoin here in a second.
Yeah.
Let's kind of talk about how you know, last week finished off, and then you know, obviously Mother's Day weekend, we kind of took that off. Both of you and I weren't really like communicating that much to each other. We had family stuff. And then now we have a new week after like the whole convention from Hong Kong and stuff. How do you feel last week ended? And, you know, do you feel like people were just focused on that convention, not a lot of price action, just a lot of not, you know, low energy, or what do you think?
I'm having technical difficulties. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. Just kind of like, what was your feel of last week? Like the whole Bitcoin ecosystem, you know,
Yeah,
energy wise.
yeah, man. It's been just sideways, bro. It's been just complete sideways, complete, you know, boringness. I think last cycle they got people to leave Bitcoin and stuff with you know, with red. Right now they're getting people to leave Bitcoin with boringness and sideways, and a lot of people are like just selling and just going away for a little bit. Where everyone thinks the sell in May go away thing is a thing, and I don't. I just think that a lot of people are going to be you know, very pissed off at themselves in like a two or 3 months because they left early. They weren't buying these runes and they weren't buying things like that. But for Bitcoin anyway, it's just, I mean, if you go back, it's just, this is normal for a halving year, you know. Last 2020, it was from May till December before it went really started to go parabolic. So yeah, not much, not much people really paying attention. You can tell that by our YouTube numbers. You can tell that by you know, other YouTuber numbers. Like, it's just been kind of boring.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I've definitely heard it from other YouTubers and content creators that they're saying, "Oh, well, you know, it just seems like their volume is a little bit lower than normal, right?" But it's really interesting though, because like you brought up 2020, and 2020 was the halving year, but it didn't really explode until 2021, right? That's whenever the price got to 60,000 twice, right? So it's kind of hard because like, what do you compare, like where we are now? Do you compare it with 2020 or 2021? Obviously, like from a time period, you would compare it to 2020 because that was the
Yeah, yeah.
halving year, right? But if we do that, then like we're demolishing what 2020 did, right? Because like we jumped up like pretty aggressively in the beginning of the year up until what was that? April. So
December.
last
Yeah.
month. And it actually looks a lot like that first leg up in 2021, but I know that that's not really like a good comparison. You see this first
Yeah.
leg right here
Yep.
in 2021, and then like this looks like it could come down like that, but this was heavily manipulated, and this was the following year after the halving year. So I don't know, this if this is supposed to be compared to 2020, I think we're in a really good spot for like longevity of like that super cycle.
Well, the biggest thing is we had something we never had before. We had a parabolic event, which was the ETF, right? That's something that we've been like thinking about for a long time here in Bitcoin, all the way back to 2013 when the Winklevoss twins first applied, and they finally got it this year. So I just think that we're in the same type of cycle emotionally, but we did have that parabolic event that really, I mean, it opens the door to so many new people and so many people that or think about buying, but then they didn't want to custody their own Bitcoin. They didn't want to, you know, risk on Coinbase. They don't understand it. Can now just go on E-Trade and stuff and buy it with the click of a button, the same way they buy Apple or Amazon or whatever else they buy, right? So I just think that we are in a normal cycle, but we had a parabolic event. And it's kind of like a huge catalyst, like a reverse black swan, right? And we're kind of deal. And so instead of last one, it was, you know, it went down in right in May or April or February, whatever it really went down, doing the opposite of that. But I think in the end of it, we're going to end up in the same place.
Yeah. Well, you know, balance is always something that seems to find
Yeah.
way back, right? So, yeah, I mean, you could see in 2020 right here, it's just not like a lot of as much volatility as we've seen this year. So this is the halving block was May 11th last year, right? So you're looking
Yeah.
at May 11th right here, and then it kind of finished its way up. So people were positive heading into the halving block, but then like a little bit of down here in June. So that following month, and then up again in July, and then down in September before another big leg up, right? So that leg up that was in the first leg in 2021 actually started in October, which is
Yeah.
crazy. So it could be something similar to that this year, to where like the leg for 2025 starts in the fall, and just 2025 could look like, like one of those, like you kind of predicted before, like a drawn out super cycle.
Yeah.
We'll have to see, right? So let's get back to kind of the current price of Bitcoin. At 62,000, we left the weekend, I think, right around this price, right? Like around 61, 62, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. It was about the same.
It ended
So,
the week on another red candle. So, I kind of expect more of this, honestly. If you
yeah.
just look at trends, it just, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to think that like all of a sudden we're gonna just start like producing green candles out of this. You know what I mean? On the weekly
Yeah.
chart. So, maybe more green, more red candles until July, because I think that's whenever things started to turn last time. You can see right here. July is whenever it started to kind of turn around there. But then this was obviously heavily manipulated, and this was the following year, after the halvings in 2020.
But if you look though, if you go back a little bit, over here, if you look at these, right in here or even back here, it's definitely just green and then red. You know what I mean, in the middle there. So it could be something like that, so where we do have a couple of red ones and then pop back up and go green again. So I'm actually in the camp that within the next couple of weeks we're going to start a green trend. I think I just think that this is just a giant bull flag, and it's ready to pop. I think we're ready for our next layer really soon, and I think it'll be in the summertime. And we have a lot of big catalysts coming with Jerome Powell has 5 bullets in his gun. I say this all the time, but with the election season coming, and you can see Biden and Trump right now, they're out campaigning. Trump was just in Wildwood, which is not far from me, and Biden was in Seattle. So I mean, they're going to start gearing up, and people can say like, with Jerome Powell isn't connected to that, but he is. They all are, and you can see tomorrow's economic data, which we're going to get into in a second, is really going to be a huge catalyst. I think they're gonna push these numbers low, so they're able to take a percentage point off within the next couple months or whatever, and that way more liquidity can come into the system. Like Biden's his year is going to look better and numbers wise, with the like number go up, and everyone's going to be happy because there's going to be money rushing around again. I think in the next 2 or 3 months you're going to see a bullet come out of Jerome's Powell's gun there, and it's really going to catapult us to the next level. All markets.
Could be. The one thing I will say though, if you look at all of this, like, buy pressure exhaustion, there's always like a decent sized leg, right?
Yeah.
Afterwards, like all of it, right? So I think that you can be partially right in this, in terms of what you're saying, a couple of weeks, right? Because like it doesn't necessarily have to go down this far, because like we talked about before, this period right here was probably the most manipulated period of crypto and
Yeah.
Bitcoin. And but it could reach maybe half, because then that would kind of take care of this buy pressure exhaustion that's happened since September of last year, right? I mean, that's just so much buy pressure right there, right? But if it comes down a little bit further right here, doesn't necessarily have to go that full leg. Like I said, this was heavily manipulated, but if it goes down and satisfies this kind of exhaustion, I think then what that could do is catapult into another leg here, heading into like the fall and stuff.
But that would mean July, August. That would be the exact sell in May, go away strategy, because that's normally what TradFi does. They go away in May, come back after Independence Day, and kind of get it going again for the get ready for fall type of thing. So you're basically saying it's going to be a sell in May, go away situation.
I mean, yeah, I think so. Just because of like, you can see like the patterns are just so like, comparable, right? Like, I mean, even though this is manipulated, it's just like, I mean, look how identical this looks like, right? For that first leg. And also right here's another like, buying exhaustion period. And then there's like a pretty full leg right there. So I don't think we just get a little bump. I think we get like maybe, half of what this leg was continuing, and then maybe reverse, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, this is kind of exciting if our perception is correct on how like the ETF really has boosted up Bitcoin, because this makes me excited about 2025 at the end of the day, because like if we're doing this well in the beginning, in the first half of 2024, which is the halving year, 2025 should look pretty good for like the entire space.
Yeah.
But again, that a lot of that has to do with like who wins the election, in my opinion, too. I agree with that.
And really the economic data too. So this is a huge week. This is a monster week for us right here. We got the PPI tomorrow, the producer price index tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. And then on Wednesday we have the consumer price index at 8:30 a.m. And obviously people are like, what does this have to do with crypto? But in order to get inflation, we'll get the interest rates down, inflation needs to come down, right? So if we can get the inflation numbers to come in line or less, then I think Jerome and them really have an opportunity to take some rates off, and a rate cut would be really, really, like, it would be so big. I don't think people understand how big that would be, because not only does that mean that obviously we go from 5% to 4% from bank to bank, but that also it stops the tightening cycle. It'll be the full release of the tightening cycle, which it ups emotions from these big guys who've been here for so long, and not just in crypto but in TradFi, and they're like, okay, now we can open up that wallet book, now we can start investing. Because what they do is they don't use their own money to invest. They borrow money to invest. All right. So they're not going to do it at 5%. They're not going to borrow money at 5%, but they will borrow money at 3%. So I think that will be a big thing when they start borrowing money to invest. That is when things will go parabolic, and I think that's coming in the next 2 to 3 months. I'm almost positive it. As soon as Jerome Powell gives the okay, which means he drops interest rates and then stops the selling of bonds and stuff and starts buying them again, we're out of the tightening cycle and we're officially in accumulation. So
yeah, I mean, it is a huge psychological weight lifted as well once the rate cuts hit, like you were just talking about, and I think that it's a psychological lift, not only for like institutions, but for everyday people, like conversations and stuff as well, right? That usually starts to take effect like a couple months to 3 months after, like at the earliest, in my opinion, like after rate cuts happen or whatever happens, right? Because like for it to get down to the individual level, it needs to happen, and then let time kind of get into where these conversations happen, right? So I think it would be extremely bullish, like for the entire market. And another thing too, with Biden coming out and saying $10,000 tax credit for housing for the younger generations. They're not dumb though. They're not gonna just say, okay, $10,000 tax cut, I'm gonna buy a house right now with like a 7% interest rate with my mortgage. You know what I mean? So that also needs to be, remedied some, right? So I don't know. I think that either way, there could be a lot of kind of relief from a psychological level of information that's coming through. We'll see.
100%. I want to hit on this comment really quickly. He said, bro, every time they cut rates, prices dropped. Yes, that is true, but they've never tightened it this far. They never went from 0 to 5 before. That's never happened in history. You can go back and look at all the charts. Every time they dropped rates, they did it because there was a recession coming, and we had 2 negative GDP scores in a row. That's why every single time everything dropped, because we entered a recession. We're not entering a recession this time. We're just finishing off a tightening cycle. It's different. I know it's people say it's different this time, but it really is. We've never tightened rates up this much this quickly. It needs to loosen up a little bit, and when that happens, you're going to see prices, you're going to see all the markets go up. But I do know what you're saying. I do know every single time it usually leads into a recession, but we've never had this type of tightening before. But yeah.
All right. So what do you want to jump into? Oh, I guess we got to hit the roll call. Let's kind of readjust this Monday start with the roll call here.
Let's do it. Get rid of this banner. All right, guys. Let's see who's here first. We got Danny Boy in that number 1 spot. Shout out my boy Danny Boy, man. He's number 1 today. You have won today, my friend. Let's go. And then we got we got BitRens in here. Danny's comments got me laughing, but we got BitRens in here, and we got D Love, TKO, Joko, Chain Watcher, Superfan, Todor, Courtney Johnson, Tim Bakes, Patty Poo, Chief Axel, Trait. And then we have Ordinal Tweets. E-Buck is in the building. Meta BTC, John, Coach Cats, Catch 8 Cats, whatever you want to call him, but he's here. No, saying one. And then we have and then saying again. But that's the roll call today. You guys are here on a Monday with us. We appreciate you guys so much. Even after some technical difficulties, you guys are staying with us. We appreciate that so much. Yeah, that second definitely, man, threw me off. It like, dude,
I
it was
mean,
like as soon as the thing went on, my computer freaking froze up.
yeah, well, it's definitely the case of the Mondays. I just spilled my
For sure.
energy drink on my desk, so I'm just like, you know what? Sometimes, like,
Uh,
whenever that happens or whatever, you just gotta be like, okay, I'm not gonna get frustrated. Just let
yeah.
it all get out. Let all the bad things that's gonna happen on Monday get out because I'm gonna be positive about it. Not today, Satan. Not today. I won't let you.
so
But
real quick, over the weekend, last Thursday and Friday, we saw Bitcoin Asia, which is the Bitcoin conference over in Asia, and then on Saturday and Sunday we saw Ordinals Asia, which was directly afterwards. So we had 4 days of potentially it was. I mean, they must have had a blast over there. We definitely FOMO'd not going, but it is what it is. But we saw Bitcoin Asia really saw 50% attendance from mainland China. What does that exactly mean?
okay, so I actually saw David Bailey first tweet about this, right? So for those that don't know who David Bailey is, he is the founder of Bitcoin Magazine, which hosts the largest Bitcoin conferences in the world, right?
Yep.
And so what this tells me personally is that like mainland China is like kind of revving up to be like Bitcoin friendly, trying to, because look, here's the thing. So you have Hong Kong and then you have mainland China, and then Hong Kong, obviously kind of went back to China in the past, I think like 30 years or something, right? But there's been a transition of kind of like just like the governments and stuff like that. So Hong Kong has a little bit more freedom typically whenever like it comes to regulations and stuff, right? From a like high level understanding of it, right? Now, the fact that 50% of the attendance came from mainland China means that they feel comfortable and confident that mainland China is going to be crypto friendly or at least Bitcoin friendly, right? And so that's a big deal because now you have cities like Beijing, Shanghai, huge like cities that that have huge whales. Mainland China has huge whales that can
Mhm.
now possibly, if mainland China becomes Bitcoin friendly and stuff, to where they allow this with regulation, to start kind of promoting Bitcoin companies and stuff, right? So this made me really bullish. I feel like China is making the right moves. If this is what this indicator is correct on what I'm thinking, to be Bitcoin friendly, and then I think they're just really outplaying the U.S. and with crypto in general. Like Hong Kong was the first step for them, and it made sense because it's like, okay, people can not can not think that like, oh, we're just relaxed now completely. We'll let Hong Kong do it first, and then once
Yeah.
they did, now next step could be like, okay, mainland China is now like, okay, we'll open up some regulation for it.
Yeah.
So
This is huge. Because I mean, China has been one of the biggest, reasons why Ordinals has been successful. A lot of the Chinese, really have a lot of Bitcoin, and it feels like they've been accumulating it just the whole time because their country is so, tight. They don't let them do much over there. So, and you can get your bank account taken down pretty easily and stuff. So a lot of them have been accumulating Bitcoin over the years and stuff like that. And that China is one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin, from a standpoint. So I just think that this is huge. Um, it's just really showing that they're actually coming out now and actually being like, okay, I'm here. And Ordinals Asia. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them who went to that event went to Ordinals Asia, so they didn't know what Ordinals were then. They know what they are now.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I feel like it's always been like this, like kind of psyop type of strategy between like the main powers. If you think about it, like back in 2016, 2017, like China would come out and ban mining. And Russia would do the same thing. US kind of try to do something. Now the US is more like on it in terms of
yeah,
like, oh, we're gonna lay down the hammer. So there's like this like game of like psyop and like their intelligence agencies or whatever trying to figure out like, are they really acquiring, or are they not, or whatever. I don't know. But like at the end of the day, like, now they're coming out opening up saying that, they're at least allowing Hong Kong to be completely like, Bitcoin and crypto friendly. Um, you know, it's just for me, it's just the next step for them to do it on mainland China. I don't know if that'll ever happen. If it does, it changes the game completely. 50% attendance to me is a big, big thing.
yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But it's it's all good. It's just showing that we're in bull market too, right? So everyone who's thinking like oh, the bull market's at its peak or it's over. No, man, it's just beginning. I think next year you might see 100% more than there was this year. So because I mean, price go up, man. We're gonna be over 125,000 by the end of the year. And then going into next year, we're going to see that super cycle feeling. People are going to be start saying it finally. Like, oh, wow, that guy Shizzy on Ordinal Revolution, he's right, man. We're in a super cycle.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I think most 95% of our audience and people in our same community believe that Bitcoin's going to be on the, hit all-time highs before the end of this year, leading into a strong start to 2025. So
yeah,
the price is really where it's obviously hard to kind of nail down. So
yeah, I want to jump into this next one really quickly. So he's back. Meme season's begun. So if I said that to you and we both saw a movie recently, who am I talking about here?
What's his name? Gosh, I forgot his name.
Roaring Kitty, bro.
Yeah, but isn't he the same person as Deep FM Values? The same person, right?
Yeah. Yep, same
Okay.
guy. Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously this is nothing to really do with crypto. He's not a big crypto guy, but he kicked off meme cycle last time. And I truly believe he's the reason why Doge and everything ran in the beginning, because he kind of, was just, he made a lot of people a lot of money in GameStop, and that money kind of flowed over to crypto. But the first time in over 3 years, he has tweeted, and it's just a picture of a man. He's playing video games. He's like this, and now that man's leaned up forward, right? So what does that mean? I don't know, no idea. But GameStop is up 100% because of it. So
That's so crazy. Yeah.
oh man,
You were saying that, it kind of it did end up like kind of positively affecting the crypto markets, right? Because
yeah,
like the whole meme energy and all that stuff ended up kind of trickling over. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's
yeah,
cool. I'm not like I never bought like GameStop or anything in those days,
yeah,
but I had friends that did, and it was a cool kind of like FU to the I feel like it's basically like Wall Street's the cabal, and then
yeah.
like Deep FM Values or whatever his name is, Roaring Kitty, and that whole like group was like the underdogs, right? And so it always feels good whenever you can kind of give the Wall Street guys that are corrupted a big FU.
Well, he started community trading, which means that it was an entire community just buying something because they want to be a part of that community, not because the number go up, right? So obviously everyone wants their number to go up, but this was the first time in history this entire community bought GameStop because it was a community adventure, and this guy was saying, like, this is the most shorted stock in the world. Let's destroy these hedge funds, guys, and they did. Hedge fund lost $13 billion because of these degens in GameStop, this community in GameStop. So, and I think that was really the catalyst for last cycle, and why Shiba ran and Doge ran over here and all those other meme coins ran, is because he opened up a door that's never existed before, and that was community trading and being a community, and that really led into a lot of the community-led projects over here in crypto. And I think that it's just, if he gets started again, people are going to start waking up and being like, okay, it's community time again. It's time to get with our communities. Let's start going again. It's fun time again. It really just I don't know. I saw this morning and it just made me happy.
Yeah, and eventually it probably will come over here to where it's like eventually like the VCs that are like really big, or the people that are like kind of pushing around the smaller communities over here, that energy will probably come over here too. So we'll see. We'll see. But all right, cool.
USX, he posted a video after too. I didn't see the video yet. I'll definitely check that out. Thanks, man.
For sure. All right, let's get into this topic. This is a pretty good one. Casey is okay with centralized apps on Bitcoin. So this was I read this yesterday, and I was kind of shocked a little bit by his statement. And I'm going to pull it up real quick. Okay, so he says right here, easily 90% of the investment going into Bitcoin L2s would do much better spent going to normal centralized Bitcoin startups. He says, how lit would it be if there was a river or a coin kite or two in every country? Decentralized is best, but not everything can be or needs to be decentralized. And he gave a couple examples. He says, the lady cuts my hair is in a centralized type of business. I just flew on a plane, which took me across the ocean, and it's fully centralized and all this stuff. He's talking about all these, like, you know, typical business models and stuff of today, you know, our normal society. And then he talks about market forces and competition are imperfect and all this stuff. Anyways, at the end of the day, what he's saying is that, like, you know, the focus, in my opinion, what I got from it is, like, he's saying the focus shouldn't be like Bitcoin layer twos. It should be, you know, putting investments into like centralized entities on Bitcoin in Bitcoin's ecosystem right now. And it's because, like, that's what's here. That's like the limitation of Bitcoin that allow, you know, that's as far as we can go, and we should invest in that. What do you agree with them, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Because we can't do anything else. So he's basically saying, like, get things like, he basically gave the okay for centralized exchanges, like what Nakeeb's building. Nakeeb came out over the weekend and he said, they're building Odin Swap, and it'll be a centralized swap on Bitcoin using your wallet. And there's obviously Dot Swap, and then you got ones like Fluid has their swap now, and Casey's giving the okay for them to be centralized, and he's saying, like, what's the big deal? Obviously, decentralization is the way to go, but at the end of the day, are they really decentralized? If a cabal owns 60% of the tokens, is that DEX really centralized? No, it's not. So it's like, at the same time, I just think he's just kind of saying, like, let's do it over here, guys. Let's do it centralized with decentralized tokens like Bitcoin. I think that's okay.
So the thing that scares me a ton is remembering, like, what started the biggest falls last year. It was centralized entities. It wasn't decentralized entities.
No, it was Luna started everything, and they were decentralized.
So Celsius was 100% centralized.
Well, Celsius was later, but Terra Luna started off, and they were, and the reason why Celsius and BlockFi went down was because of Luna, and they were holding a lot of UST, or the Luna dollar. I think it was UST.
But was Luna really decentralized though? If he was,
well, it was a decentral, yeah, because you would buy Luna, and then you would kind of just kind of like, it's kind of like what BitSmiley and stuff was doing. You basically you collateralize Luna for the USD, and then USDT, I think it was called, no, UST, I forget what it was called, but UST, and then that's how it went. But if a lot of UST was sold, then there wasn't enough Luna, so that's why Luna, like, exploded in supply.
Yeah. So it was more of a bad system that everybody bought into.
Yeah,
is what it
Luna
was.
It was
they didn't back it with like Bitcoin or other assets like that, right?
They backed it with their own token.
Yeah, so that's obviously that's not what like BitSmiley's doing and stuff. They're backing it with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's the same, like it's like basically collateralizing it, right? But they did it with Luna.
They use like an algorithmic style, like stable token, right? So like every time like USDT was low on collateral, it would sell more like Luna or something like that, right? So anyways, but at the end of the day, like, let's say that like Celsius and all these other, because after that it was a ton of centralized entities that like collapsed everything else
because they were holding UST.
Yeah, so I mean that could still happen though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, let's just say you can say the same thing about Amazon, right? So, and you can say something about like Apple and stuff too. If they mess up or whatever, then they go to zero as well.
Yeah. I'm not saying that like that. I'm not saying that like doing it in this way can not be super successful, because I do think it can.
Yeah.
But I just remember like the other than Luna, what other decentralized like type of chain or anything really caused the collapse? You know what I mean? It was really like Mt. Gox was completely centralized. That was the first
Yeah.
big one, right?
Yeah.
Then you go to Luna happened, so decentralized, and then you go to Celsius and then BlockFi or whatever, like all those, right? Those are
Yeah.
all centralized. And then you go to FTX, which is extremely centralized. So if you do the balance, it's like, not even close in terms of like who, has a now if there's more fear and more regulatory like oversight, which I know we don't want that, but like at the end of the day, like, do we want it in a sense of to where it's fair though? Like the stuff that we're getting right now from the SEC, obviously we don't want that because it's
Yeah.
bullcrap. They're not even giving us anything. That's the only way I see like centralized entities being able to have success in the space over a long
Well,
period of time.
you got to remember, like, those companies that you named weren't regulated. If we can get regulation in the space and get these centralized crypto companies regulated to where they're being, being audited and have to come up with documents and can get shut down and stuff like that, that's the problem. Mt. Gox, everything you named was not regulated. It was not like there's no outside people being like, "What are you guys doing? Let me see the books." You know what I mean? If we can get stuff like that, we can get actual regulation from the people that are supposed to be protecting us for these companies. If let's just say BlockFi was actually like regulated, let's just say Celsius was actually regulated, and you could say they were, but they obviously weren't because they were lending out money they did not have. And that's the reason. It's the same reason why FTX went down, right? That they just, if we can get real regulation on these companies, the same regulation we give to Apple and stuff like that, we could have a really good like crypto economy over here with centralized places.
Okay, so then what happens to decentralized applications?
Decentralized applications are fine too. I just think they both can there's reasons why you would use both of them, right? But like I said before, if a group of people hold 60% of the governance token, they can do whatever the hell they want anyway. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
No, my question was more like, do the decentralized entities, do they have like a separate like regulatory system, or do they not need to do you just kind of leave those alone because they are decentralized? Because like, obviously like the centralized entities are the ones that like have been getting in trouble the most. But this last case from last bull market or bear market, it was a decentralized, supposedly decentralized entity that caused all those house of cards to fall.
Well,
So
yeah, decentralized entities are fine because you can just look at the smart contract. The smart contract is runs them, right? So you don't
and then you
need
make
someone
that
to
and then
say
you make the best decision based on your customer base and stuff like that, and you just have to deal with like the fallout if that happens, right? So
exactly.
that makes sense to me. It's
Yeah,
like decentralized entities don't necessarily need to be regulated or audited as hard, but like the centralized ones definitely do because you have a central point of power.
Yeah.
And but they are making to what they deem is the best decision for their business and their client customers or whatever. And if something goes wrong, then they have to bite the bullet or deal
Yeah.
with the consequences.
And a smart contract can be hacked, right? So that's the same thing. You like a regulator would come in and really, I mean, they'd have to understand smart contracts and really be able to dig in there and stuff like that for that to get that stamp of approval. And I think we can get stamps of approval on things to give that okay, this has been looked at from somebody who really understands this, right? And it doesn't have to be like a government agency. It could just be like a CertTech or something, right? So like, and that type of stuff could be enough to get that government regulation, a CertTech, audit or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Off a decentralized entity.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, centralized apps would definitely kind of clear the way for like activity in Bitcoin's ecosystem. If
100%.
everybody was okay with it, there would be like amazing applications on there right now, like with quickness and liquidity pools and stuff like that. I mean, you'd be dealing with like pretty much like a Binance style or an OKX style type
Coinbase.
of, exactly, Coinbase. So we got to see kind of what happens after this. But like, I think it'd be interesting. It's an interesting conversation. You're definitely going to have a lot of pushback from, maxis and stuff.
But that's the thing is you don't have to use it, right? It's like I just think everything just because there's a Red Lobster in my corner, I'm not gonna get mad about it. Just because I don't eat seafood, I'm not gonna get mad about that. I just won't go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, if there is centralized stuff that's happened, let's just say dot swap, for instance, right? Like they're centralized, right? We know they're centralized. You don't have to use them. You can buy off, decentralized when they're available, these decentralized marketplaces. But every marketplace here Unisat, Magic Eden, they're all centralized. What's the
And
difference
that's
if we
another
just,
thing too, is like,
you know, it's like
they're centralized right now, guys. Like,
that's the biggest thing.
and so to me, I'm like, then why are the apps not better yet? But I feel
Yeah.
like it's because they're trying so hard for decentralization, right? It's like
Exactly.
they're like, we can't build for centralization. We got to build for decentralization. We got to make it decentralized, because then
Yep.
everybody will be okay with it. But if they focus on being like, okay, it is going to be centralized. That is what it is. Like the base of community base is okay with it, then maybe they would have some better apps by now. But we'll see.
Yeah, and you can still put the voice in people's hands by having a token, like a centralized token, and be like, hey, the holders of this token get the vote, and then we'll make those changes like centralized, but we'll still make all those changes you guys ask. So you can still make a governance token for a centralized entity.
Yeah.
You know, it's still possible as long as
Yeah,
that entity goes
I feel
by
like
what
we're
those people say.
like eventually, if like centralized apps become like acceptable over here,
Yeah,
I definitely feel like we'd be shifting towards like traditional like stock market style like
yeah.
way of doing with businesses, talking to their holders and stuff like that. Which, I mean, I don't know. I want to let my brain kind of chill on this and think a little bit more further. But it's definitely interesting and fun conversation.
For sure. My man Walk Alone says only 22 likes. What the f? Smash that like button, please, guys. Please smash that like button for us real quickly. And before we go into our next topic, too, I just wanted to say, tomorrow evening, at around 7 a.m. Eastern time, we will be going live and having a members party. We're gonna have a party tomorrow night for all our members. We're gonna be inside a StreamYard event, and it's gonna be on YouTube. So if you are a member, all you got to do is go to YouTube, and there will be a members only video there for you guys. So we'll do that live, and it should be fun. And I made a lot of big decisions over the weekend for my portfolio, and I'm going to tell you guys all about it. And it should be a fun, exciting event. So if you want to find out what's in my portfolio or what moves I made over the weekend, tune in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for a members only live. And if you're not a member, think about joining it, because they're fun, they're awesome. You get me and Yagobi a little bit more open and relaxed, and kind of really digging into your questions.
For sure. Yeah, 194 people in here on a Monday, guys. Put your questions all in the chat. We're gonna get to those in the Ordinal after hour. But things are like, look, that's another Monday.
It's a Monday,
It's a Monday thing, man. Another Monday thing. Goodness. All right, so let's jump into this next topic here. All right, so you brought this up to me. You said, hey, look, Track put out a Medium article and you wanted to dig into it on the show. Let's go ahead and do that.
Let's do it. So this came out, I want to say 2 days ago. This was come out from their team or whatever, and it's a pretty deep article. So I'm not going to get into everything. There is a couple of points that I did want to get into. So it basically kind of explains what Track's purpose is. Track System's purpose as a company is to deliver some products on the Bitcoin network while staying as close possible to work on L1. We are not opposed to an L2 as a company, but we prefer to try to push limitations in development rather than using existing solutions and copy pasting them. As such, most of our products are and will be focusing on using and trying augment the power of Bitcoin without the use of alternative chains. So they're basically saying, the Track team, they're basically saying, we want to be on L1, but we're not where we there might be a chance we will move to an L2 if that's not possible. So as of right now, Track is going to be trying to really push efforts and innovation on Bitcoin. And that to me was a huge thing to me. I was really big on that. What do you think about that?
I think like this is kind of like the story of our space here. You know what I mean? It's like there's people that have been trying to innovate on Bitcoin layer 1 for a long time. We've been here over a year, and in this specific space, right? And I think they're just like they're realizing there's like innovation here that's happening, but they always get like kind of, you know, stopped in the middle of the road. I feel like for okay, what do we do next with this, you know, and that. But I don't know. They, you know, supposedly they're gonna roll out some really cool stuff, some features. The one thing that I think that like is bullish about Track is you know, they do stuff on Doginals too, and I think that like whenever they're working on multiple chains, it kind of sets them as like their token, the main track token, which started all of this. It is a BRC20, but it's like, look what's kind of branched out from it, right? So you have track that's, their whole objective is to be this decentralized indexer in Ordinal, right? It starts that way. They end up creating a more flexible version of BRC20 and TAP protocol. They dabble in the whole like UTXO tokens thing with Pipe, and then they start to say, hey, we're going to start indexing on Dogechain as well. And then they also index the bitmaps, right? So they have a lot of things, tentacles right now. And I think that's really smart, because I think when the actual bull run comes, and there's like, alt seasons here and all this, like just money's, stupid money starts to come over and all that stuff. People are going to look at track and be like, they have their tentacles everywhere, and they can be looked at as, if they're indexing over on Dogechain and Bitcoin, as kind of like the start of that chain link comparison type of like, we don't just service only on Bitcoin, and they have like this whole ecosystem of TAP protocol as well underneath it. So I'm bullish on track, the token, for whenever things get parabolic, in this whole space.
Yep. And there's another reason to be bullish on track. So if I can find that really quickly, I think it's here. Tracks gains and get traction.
The validators.
Yeah. So where is that exactly? I think it was down here. I had it earlier, but then my computer froze. Okay, so here it is. Validator participation will be facilitated through the direct purchase of licensing rights payable in track. Okay, that is not it.
No, that is it. Go back down. Yeah, payable in track.
300 validators will no. It's where you stake track and get the TAP token.
Well, the validators are earning TAP.
Yeah, here it is. Nope. That wasn't it though. Yeah, I had it up earlier. My bad. Tokens. I know I had it on my X.
So that's not what you're talking about. The validators staking.
Yeah, that is. But
track.
So
to earn TAP.
Here it is. Validators validate indexing data and reward indexers for correct data and validity. Validator access can be obtained through track tokens, which gives the right to earn TAP. So basically, to run a validator, you're going to need to stake track tokens, and then the reward is going to be the TAP tokens. And to me, that's going to open up a lot of big things here, because obviously normal people aren't going to be able to run an indexer, right? I mean, I don't think that I'm going to be running one, but that's going to open up for different type of entities to be like, hey, give us your track, we'll stake it for you and give you, and then take a small percentage of that track, of that TAP reward token, right? So that's going to open up some DeFi opportunities on other places as well. Hey, give us your track, we'll give you our token, and we'll keep the TAP.
Someone's already done that. You know who did that?
Who did that?
Karma.
Are they doing that already?
Yeah. Well, no, you remember like whenever they did their Karma token swap?
Yeah.
Literally, you could swap your track for Karma.
Yeah, right? I know, but you can't stake it though. That's
not at that time, but that's what they're thinking. They like that because like Karma and Sora and all that, they're a part of the same group, right? So yeah, I think that this is going to be a very in my personal opinion, I think this is going to be a very VC type of play, to where there's like, a lot of money coming in, trying to become validators for track, which is fine, because like you got to look, in my opinion, someone was complaining on my Twitter saying that oh, this is like a VC play, blah, blah. Yeah, but just because VCs have entered the space doesn't mean you can't win. Of course you can still win. The game's changed though. Like you gotta focus on when you're gonna enter and exit differently. You know what I mean? Because this, in theory, should pump track's token price, right? And so, for someone, unless you got like $1 million worth of track, I'm probably, me personally, I'm not going to try to be a validator. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to sell like when things are like popping with track. Like everybody's like trying to be a validator, all these larger entities. So you just got to be smart about it of when you're going to exit and enter. So.
Well, this is kind of exactly what I was talking about, though. Like Karma and Ghosty are going to be validators, so potentially I can be able to stake my track on Ghosty. You know what I mean, and potentially earn the Ghosty token, or something.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Yeah, so that's where I think the staking comes into play, right? Because they said staking's coming and all this stuff for the tap protocol and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting when this actually happens. Because I think it was, it's supposed to be by the end of this month where a lot of this tap ecosystem stuff starts to really kind of come out and stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man.
all right, all right, all
What else we
right.
got?
We
Oh,
can
we got
talk a
the
little bit about this.
yeah. This is
Yeah.
from
So
Mscribe, right? So this is the
what?
thing that they're doing. They're Mscribe is the privileged authorities feature. You can guarantee that minters receive their assets. This is something the Blackrunner guys built, which I think was pretty cool. What do you think about this?
I think it goes into like the overall like framework too, though, with the
Yeah,
privileged authorities feature. I think that Tap created that, right? So
yeah,
basically, what this is basically like a whitelist, saying that like if you're whitelisted and you mint something, or maybe they do like an open sell to only privileged authority addresses, and it's not necessarily a mint, it's just like a sale or something on
yeah,
market, then you can't snipe it. So I mean that's good to protect the user base in terms of, you know, feeling like they're not going to get their good find stolen from them. You know what I mean? Like if you find like a node monkey for like 30% cheaper than what it was going for, then a lot of times you'll get that stolen from you real quick, right? And
yeah,
then you have a bad gas war or a fee war. With this, you don't have to worry about that. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of good like literature coming out about like the tap ecosystem. Again, like I just want to use it. I want to be able to use it. Like so, I don't know that there was a tap wallet that said they came out, they messaged me and said, hey, we're done with our tap wallet. It's going to be released to the public. I think maybe this week, and it's not Unitap. It's Tap Wallet and Explorer. So
yeah,
that's an infrastructure piece right there. The first Tap wallet, and then Unitap is coming out with their wallet. So then you'll have two wallets, right? That's a good start. But when I want to see it, right? Because if you have two pretty solid wallets, and one is a fork of Unisat, so you know how that one works already. The other one,
yeah,
I'm not sure how it works, but those are infrastructure plays that need to come out, and then other infrastructure stuff needs to come out as well. There's good projects. We partner with one with Traverse that's in that
yeah.
ecosystem. So let's get this ecosystem going. Let's get it going. Let's start putting the pieces out so users can start using it. So I hope that happens soon.
100%. And Lena, backtrack for a second. I forgot I had this up as well. On the airdrop strategy in terms of bringing two snapshots was to ensure that holders of track and long-term supporters were rewarded in the form of early tap allocations. The first snapshot was taken the 28th of February, 2024, and the second snapshot was done on the 30th of April. We prepared a 50-50 allocation for each snapshot, and we'll as a bonus of 50% of the people holding the same balance of each snapshot. So basically, if you held the same balance from February to April, or basically May, then you'll get a 50% bonus of in tap tokens for that. The tokens will be available on tap listing day. At the moment, it's still TBA, so to be announced. So the I just want this to happen already. I just want the tap token to be on coin list and ready to go. And he says the public round and coin list on the 2nd of May, and the last day before track anniversary, we decided to release news tap protocol being one of the next token launches on CoinList. CoinList recognized as one of the most reputable platforms for token launches, has previously worked with prominent projects like Solana and Near Protocol. So that's the reason why I think we got really bullish on it as well. When someone like CoinList comes in, it's kind of like, okay, this ain't joking around anymore.
Yeah, I mean those are two big names from the last couple cycles or last cycle. Solana is the best performing chain outside of
Yeah,
Bitcoin in terms of like volume and stuff like that. And I think volume wise, it's probably number one actually, maybe now.
yeah,
So that's exciting that CoinList has taken it on, and you know, I think excitement lasts for like a good amount of time until like something's rolled out, right? And so I hope that happens, you know, in the next 2 weeks. You know, that and other stuff, you know. So this wallet
Yeah.
that message DM'd me and stuff, that's one thing. And so once that comes out, I'm gonna try to use it and see like how things are looking. I mean, from a ecosystem and stuff like that, it sounds great. Everything sounds good. We've talked
Yeah.
to people, and so my confidence is there. I'm just like a little kid, I think, right now, and I wanna play with stuff and break stuff.
Yeah, man. Superfan says Privilege Authority lets you also limit inscriptions per holder, which should be good for fair distributions from here on out. So that's pretty big too. I didn't realize that you can just be like, okay, one per holder in that way as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry. John says how people fell for the track to karma swap is beyond me. A fool and his money easily parted. Yeah, I mean,
true.
I wouldn't have done that. Karma dropped drastically after that as well. A
Yeah,
track can get you a lot of karma right now. So
yeah, and that's kind of one of the other things I was talking about. Like, you know, when the VCs kind of come into the space, you can still 100% win. Like, you can definitely win,
yeah,
but the game changes a bit because it's not PvP as much as it is PV. You know, like large entity with a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
so and none of this financial advice. It's just, you know, obvious stuff to where, like, you know, it's yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing that validator game differently, but and I think it's an opportunity for the little guy, actually.
yeah.
You know, um but we'll see what happens as stuff gets rolled out, but I'm excited
Mhm.
about it in general. I think we need some stuff, but and another thing too, like I was thinking about, is that, like, you know, obviously runes right now is down, and then tap news started to kind of really get out there starting about two
Yeah,
weeks ago, I feel like. And you have some other ecosystems here, and right now it's just like, doesn't matter where you are in the crypto space, Bitcoin or outside of it. It's just, other than Solana here and there, like those crazy memes hit, it's like people are just sitting kind of twiddling their thumbs, like, okay, when's the next like run up, you know, insertion of liquidity from the outside. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, you know, like I have a little bit of everything right now and different ecosystems, but do you feel like once we do see that like confirmed run back up, that like all the little ecosystems that have like communities and stuff are going to benefit from it? Or, I mean, like, because we talked about tap, we talked about runes,
yeah.
BRC20 is doing their things. Like, how do you see the flow of that happening?
I just think markets like the next new shiny thing, and I think a super cycle is broken down in a lot of small cycles. I don't think BRC20s run that hard. Obviously, do think some do that are part of other ecosystems like Track and Ghosty. But I think the BRC20 aspect is going to be you know, kind of pushed back a little bit. I think, you know, the CBRC stuff that's kind of like in the
Yeah.
background so far. I think the run up for the atomicals is kind of going to be pushed back, but new ecosystems like Tap and like Runes and like things like that, I think really do really well in this next jump up in the cycle. I think if you look back, dude, in the last cycle, yeah, stuff did run, but the newer stuff always ran the fastest and the hardest every single time. Like, you know, when you did show that chart in the beginning when Bitcoin went like this and then dipped down, the stuff that when we went back up again didn't run as hard as the newer stuff that was being put out the second time, which was a lot of the you know, the Ponzi stuff,
Yeah.
ohms and stuff like that, and you know, all that stuff really took charge in that second part. You didn't see stuff like Chainlink and stuff like Uniswap and stuff like that really go as hard as they did the first time around. It was the newer stuff, and I think you're going to see that continuously going forward in this entire super cycle of, you know, the stuff that ran the hardest last time uh, is not going to run anywhere near as fast or hard as they did in this next little super cycle that we're having, or
Yeah.
mini cycle inside a super cycle.
But also, I think we also need to remember like where the mindset was during that period. Again, it was a year post halving, right? And
Yeah,
we're in the halving year right now. And I think a lot of times, because we've been over here for a year, we feel like, okay, this is the year for like things to go crazy, but it's really not. Like if you look at the previous cycles, this is actually the get back year. It's like, let's get back to where we were. You know what I mean? But for us, we've seen these run ups in our spaces. So like I feel like sometimes we got to readjust our perception and say, where are we in the cycle? You know what I mean? Where are we in the cycle? Are we in the halving year? Yes, we know that. What happens typically in the halving year? It's kind of that's the year to catch up from like all the bear market crap, right? And like we were killed in those during that time. And so I think that's kind of probably more accurately of where we are, is like this is like the catch up, the makeup. And then once that is already done, and like we get into that true leg up at the end of this year, heading into early next year, that's when the craziness will start. And I think because of that, like some of the older ecosystems in Bitcoin could thrive in that time period. You know, I mean, that's when they come back, because that's really whenever like the public's crazy again about Bitcoin and all crypto and stuff, So I think sometimes we just got to kind of readjust ourselves, because we're now, you and I this past year, this is newer to us to be in it every single day like this. You know what I'm saying? To where we're like prepping for shows and stuff like that. So our timeline skewed compared to the previous cycle. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I mean, you could definitely be right. And to your point about this being the comeback year, I mean, in 2020, Bitcoin hit 20,000 in December, of that year. So that was, 9 months after halving before it actually got back to all-time high again, and of the previous cycle of 2017. And then in that next year it started running. But we do have that one catalyst of ETFs that's a little different this time, and I think that kind of gets us. And you got to be remembered too, a lot of people have gotten their hands wet a little bit before, like in the 2021, or who haven't entered back yet, who know how to use MetaMask and know how to use wallets, know how to do things, who just aren't here yet, and they won't come until Bitcoin's back at all-time highs and stuff like that, and then when everything's running again, like that. So there's a lot more people who know about the space, who are just like, who got burned, and they'll be coming back to take their second shot. But one thing that does suck, though, I think about, is like, we're sitting here and we're just like, hey, retail, come let me dump on you. You know what I mean? It's just it's just I was thinking about that the other day. I was just like, we just we're buying stuff so we can dump it on people later. But that's how markets been forever. Like, people buy Amazon.
That's how all markets
in the
work,
90s.
honestly.
People buy Amazon in the 90s to dump it in the 2020s, right? At at an insane amount of money. But but things are it's all about when you get in them, so it does suck. But like, a lot of this stuff's going to go to zero. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's 90% of it goes to zero. So we're sitting here and we want to dump something that we know eventually is going to go to zero. But there is some good stuff that I know won't go to zero, right? Like, some of the BRC20s, like Ordi and stuff, like Ordi and Sat stuff, won't go to zero. Some of the runes tokens, like RSIC and Decentralized and there's ones with teams behind them, and stuff like Tap and Ghosty and stuff like that with teams behind them. So I think those aspects are different. But a lot of the meme stuff is just like, dog with hat and stuff like that on Solana. They just want to dump it on retail, and I can't wait for them to get here.
Yeah, I mean, so you said something, and we're gonna get into the after hour, guys. So keep putting your questions in there. I want to finish on this statement, though, that you said. Well, I guess statement / question, and give it back to you for real quick. But so you said, this time's different in terms of the ETF, and so that's kind of the reason. But couldn't that just be the cherry on top? I don't think a lot of people have put this in their like situation scenario, is that like the ETFs could just be the cherry on top this cycle, and say, we pumped hard because of the ETFs early, which means that like we will continually pump even harder this cycle because of the ETFs. You get what I'm saying? Doesn't mean just because the ETFs came in and pumped hard means that like we have to, that was it. That was like our retrace. Now we have to retrace completely. And I don't think that. I think actually it will just propel and make the halving year better than it's ever been. But then that following year will be even better. Like, because of that, it gets, prices could reach even more all-time highs, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You know,
no, 100%. That's why I'm thinking we're in a super cycle. But you got to remember too. I just think the halving just delayed the sideways. I think that upward moment was supposed to happen. If the ETF didn't happen, it would have happened later, and we would just have sideways in that entire aspect, and maybe start going up now. So I just think that was just put in there and kind of delayed that. And now we're in that sideways action that we should have got in January and February and March. You know what I mean? So I think this is kind of where we should start taking off, but we already people have already entered the markets, and that's why we're going to be sideways, maybe even a lot longer than we are now. And I'm not sure if that answers your question, but
yeah, it
okay.
did. All right, let's get to the questions here, guys. We're going to start off with Courtney Johnson, a member of ours. Courtney says, what's your opinion on DMT royals? So I need to learn more about DMT royals, but it definitely seems like it's getting a lot of the DMT community's attention. They have those crowns as well that I think maybe are accessories or something. I need to learn more about it. I don't really have a strong opinion about it until I learn more about it, but it seems to be from my Twitter timeline, it's getting like a lot of hype and attention, similar to kind of what the Nat Cats got. Do you know anything about this project?
No, DMT stuff doesn't get my motor going.
Yeah.
When I see that stuff, I just ignore it. It's just not my cup of tea.
Gotcha.
There's another show for all that, I'm sure.
All right. Essayan says, oh, okay. So this was a question to somebody else. Sorry about that. What do you guys think about Roaring Kitty is back? GME might be a good idea to buy the Rune token. The Roaring Kitty 60K market cap. This is a plug / question.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Rune?
Don't do it.
What do you think about the stonk?
I was looking at the Roaring Kitty. It's number 4,000 something. 40% of the supply is held by 3 holders. That tells me do not even touch this thing. Stay far away from it. It just takes, one of those 3 holders to start dumping, and that thing's going down quick.
So. Yeah, I agree. I probably would not touch that. 246 people in here. Appreciate you guys joining us on a Monday morning, a tough Monday morning for us, but we're getting through it. Superfan says pseudo decentralization is possible. I'm containerizing work so that I have to replicate the centralized parts and serve it from multiple servers. If AWS fails, then another container exists at DigitalOcean. Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And he follows up, can't inscribe everything to be on-chain. AI models, in my case, are huge, but fail over 2 containers is a good situation. So basically, kind of IPFS in a sense, to where you're putting, files not on-chain, but can be, pointed to by the indexer or client, I guess.
What else we got?
Not too many questions today.
Yeah, not many questions at all.
Not too many questions at all. Yeah. So
probably a good thing for this Monday. Not many people in here. It's a very boring, quiet Monday. Not much going on. People are just, coming off that Mother's Day. I hope everyone enjoyed, their family. I know we both did. So, it was nice. So, probably going to end this one early, right?
Well, yeah, I want to talk about a couple things. So, guys, starting this week, every Wednesday, we're going to have a Security Tips Wednesday, brought to you by Traverse Labs. But what we're going to do is kind of go over situations in the space, or kind of different services and products that they can offer to kind of help avoid getting your wallets drained, and just to like Shizzy says, keep up with good security hygiene, right? Yep. And it's very, very important. There was a big $700,000 wallet drain that happened this past week, and we're gonna probably highlight that this week. I don't know what the plan is exactly, but that sucks. And we don't want any of our community members to go through anything like that. I feel really, really bad for the individual that this happened to. And it looks like they got like majority of his ordinals and runes and fungibles and stuff like that. So you know.
First off, do not keep that much money in one damn wallet, right? Like get a Unisat, get an Xverse, get a Leather, just stop it. Stop putting all that. I saw what was in that wallet, dude. Oh my god, he had like 11 puppets. It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't touch it. I would definitely have like 9 wallets or use Traverse's vaults, right? So even in that case, use multiple vaults. You just never know. I mean, I guess that wouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm thinking about it because you need the 3-factor. No one's getting in that thing without your permission.
Yeah. So that's different. I mean, probably splitting up at least a couple still is not a bad idea, just for like having a habitual pattern of doing that. But yeah, so that's something to look forward to. Looks like Neo Meister's asking what's happening with Verothian mines. We'll talk a little bit about that in tomorrow's member stream. It's definitely coming up, guys. Like, just know that. Like that's coming up for sure. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Abdul says Bitcoin puppets. Let's see. Are the puppets a buy right now? So that's a good question. Let's see.
I just think everything's a buy right now. Like, I just think that, like, if you're buying something right now, you're gonna be very happy in 3 to 6 months, and that's obviously not financial advice, but that's just what I'm doing. I've went pretty hard the last couple of days in a bunch of different assets. So
yeah, and I mean they're 0.195, so that's definitely lower range that we've seen them in a long time. Yeah. Look, guys, you guys know, if you've been in the space, you've been watching our show, you guys know what has been running this last 3 to 6 months. It's been the puppets, it's been Node Monks, OMB, and then the frogs actually kind of dumped starting about 3 months ago. But the frogs, to me, is an opportunity play still. Those type of ordinal collections, right? Obviously do your research on their history, their price action in their history and stuff like that. But there's a lot of opportunity right now, I feel like, right? It's like, have you already utilized your additional Bitcoin, or did you not put any Bitcoin to the side? That's where the frustration is going to be, right? Because you always want to be ready for times like this, in my opinion, because we know that some of these are going to explode whenever things go crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got some more questions coming in. Mr. Sheedy, what is the difference between trusting Unisat and trusting Traverse with all of your stuff? If Unisat dissolves, do not have wallet. Let's see, hold on. If Unisat dissolves,
do not have nation, have wallet.
I think he meant to type something else. If Traverse dissolves, do I still have my wallet? So the wallet is still a Bitcoin wallet. Like, you'll still have that, but obviously, if the process of obtaining that the assets in that wallet changes, you just got to be on top of your stuff. You know what I mean? So I think if anything dissolves, you got to you should be in the know of what's going on with any project you're involved with, whether that's Unisat or Traverse. But if Unisat were to dissolve, you would still have your assets, because
you just put words in a different wallet.
You just put your words in a different wallet. And I imagine that would be the same thing with Traverse, because it's creating a Bitcoin wallet too. But I think you can go to our Discord. There's a Traverse channel there. You can ask this question if you want to get more in-depth answer for that. So
that's actually a really good question. I'll actually we have a meeting with them later today just to kind of go over some stuff. I'll actually ask them that exact question, because I'm pretty sure their code is open source. You would just be able to take that code, and you can just create a website using that code and then just do it that way as well. I'm pretty sure that's how it works with a lot of open source stuff, but we'll definitely get that answer for you. But I think it's along those lines.
Yep. I think that's it, though. I think that wraps up the questions for today. We will jump right into it tomorrow, same time, same place. A little bit more sharp, probably. I won't spill my drink all over my desk or get a call.
Hopefully I don't freeze during the damn intro music.
Yeah.
But man,
we just want to thank all of y'all. 251 people in here, for a slow time period is amazing.
Yeah.
We're very, very grateful that you guys are. It's because of y'all we're able to do this every day. So, just make sure that you visit the website, ordinalrevolution.com. Yeah. We have a new article on there about fluid tokens as well. And so you check out the article. If you need any Ordinals gear, you can see our shop there. If you need to get 21% off, if you pay in Bitcoin, you can get that discount on our site for the Bitcoin conference in Nashville in July. But I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And like I said earlier, we're gonna have that members only live tomorrow. If you're not a member, you think about joining. It should be really fun. We're gonna have some alpha for you guys in that one. Should be, it should be exciting. So definitely take a look at that tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely check that out. And we'll be back tomorrow, back all week, 11 a.m. to about 12, and then we do the after hours as long as that takes. The more questions we get, the longer we stay. But we're gonna end it on that note, guys. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
We OG, oh no, G. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload, yeah. Experts on reload, yeah. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock, ayy. Rooms is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal Revolution, ayy. Ordinal Revolution. Yo, it's my guy for real, bro. Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, lock it in the seal. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nookies on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me.